Hey guys, what's going on? This is Josh from Spotted Euros, and today, well, we're not talking about a European car. We're actually talking about a project that I never told you about. So stay tuned. This is a 1993 Suzuki Samurai. Suzuki Samurai JL, I guess. At least that's what it says on the side. So let me explain. I never told anyone about this project because I was working on this when I first started making YouTube videos. Now looking back, I wish I would have made more videos on the process and what we did. This project right here is probably the most in-depth I've ever gotten on any sort of project. Talk about everything that kind of we went over. Now unfortunately I don't really have any footage of this car before we got it. But let me walk around and kind of tell you a few things, and then we'll take it for a drive. Then we'll do a Spotted Euro score. Now, we're not going to do that, but we'll walk around the car and talk about everything that's going on. So, now I am not definitely an expert. I wouldn't even call myself really an enthusiast. Spotted Euros, we're a car dealership. We buy and sell cars. I'm just constantly looking for good deals, and I kind of had a good idea of the value of one of these. So when I saw this pop up as a decent deal, I jumped on it, even though it's not typically something that I am buying. So I bought this car for $1,500. Now when I got it, it did not look exactly how it looks right now. But before we get too far, do me a favor, hit subscribe. This is going to be a fun video. I love the Samurai, and do me a favor, hit subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. We're getting close, but there's only a month left. So hit subscribe, do me a favor. Let me know if you like this video, comment below, all that kind of stuff. One of the things that I think we did kind of made the biggest difference is we put in a whole new suspension, as in we put in new front and rear leaf springs. When we first got this, the rear passenger side suspension was collapsed. So not only was it worn out, but the suspension in the back here was sitting a lot lower just because it simply was broke. And the leaf springs are actually a 1.5 inch lift. So like I said, front and back are brand new. We did new U-bolts on the bottom. We did put in new bushings. We also put in these leaf springs, lifters, risers. I'm not sure what they call them, but we put these in by Low Range. Low Range is actually a local place, and they sell a lot of Suzuki Samurai stuff. So we picked that stuff up. So this sits about 2 inches taller. It's got about a 2-inch lift. Put new shocks in, and now it rides great, and there's extra travel. The other big thing that kind of started this whole thing, so when I first got this, it was kind of like, oh, I'll buy this, maybe have it for a little bit and then sell it, make some money. The front bumper, so we put on a new front bumper. The front bumper, when we got it, had these 2 huge holes. So someone had been towing this behind like a motorhome or something. So they decided to cut holes, like really bad holes in the bumper, and they welded on some plates so that they could pull it behind their motorhome. Well, I think because of that, the bumper support, or I don't know if they call it like an impact bar, but if you can see this bar right here, it was actually completely rusted off, and the center section was broken. So originally, just like any project, I was thinking, oh, this will be just a, I'll kind of shine it up, make it look a little better. But then when I took the bumper off, noticed the bar was completely rusted, and I had to replace that. And then I said, okay, let's take care of that. So that took some time. And then one thing leads to another. Then it's like, well, the suspension's really worn out. Let's replace the suspension. Let's clean up some other things. So kind of snowballed a little bit from there. Now these wheels, the tires are a little bit bigger than the stock tires, and what I really like about these tires is it kind of goes back to the period correct tires that they would have used. It kind of looks like the Jeep wheels and tires. So they're the Wrangler, the Goodyear Wrangler tires, and this size is 205 75 15. So they're not huge, but they fill in the arches. These don't rub. These fit it really well. They don't slow the car down too bad, if at all. So now the other stuff, at least on the outside, is we kind of cleaned some stuff up. I think previously this Suzuki had a hard top on it, so it had a bunch of caulking and a bunch of different stuff. So I got this this hard top off of, or this soft top off of Amazon. And then I bought the beam here and the brackets and stuff off of Low Range. So we put a top on top of it. The top is nice for like now when you got snow and all this kind of stuff. But during the summer, it's a blast to take all this stuff off. Now, the other thing that's cool is this actually comes with the brackets, the hinges where you can take the doors off. So, I mean, that's kind of the funnest. In the summer, you can take the doors off, take the top off, and this thing is just a blast to drive. Now, there have been a few other things, at least underneath. I mean, we kind of addressed some brake issues. There was a brake line that broke. Another thing that we did is the exhaust had rotten out where the muffler was. So we put a new muffler and then tailpipe on. So there's some small stuff like that. Now this is always fun. The hood, the pop for the hood is in the glove box. So like I said, I'm not sure of everything. Maybe someone knows a little bit more, but it is the JL. Not sure if that's all of them or the JL or... I really didn't do too much. I changed the spark plugs out on it. I believe I put some new cables in. But everything worked as it should. It comes up to temperature just fine. It maintains temperature fine. One of the things I did is this boot had a big crack in it, so I replaced that. There were some vacuum lines that we put new vacuum lines on. So as you can see, well, yeah, so there really wasn't much to it here. It seeps a little oil, but it doesn't really leak anything. Okay, so this might be hard to kind of see because of it's all just black in here, but a lot of the time and energies that I put into this was actually making the inside of this look a lot nicer. So when I first got this had like some really old and gross carpet that was in it. It was missing a back seat. It had the original seats in it. So we actually did quite a bit with this. One of the things I think it took the longest but made the biggest difference is I spent the time, I stripped this all down. I filled, there were just a couple, this car came from Arizona, so there were a couple of rust holes, but really not too bad, just kind of behind these two seats. And I just cut that out, welded in some new metal, sealed it all up. And we came in here, once I cleaned everything up, got rid of, there's so many holes and so many different stuff here. Right, some bed liner. And I think it turned out really nice. So everything is bed linered. It all it came out really nice, really good. It's a little dirty. It's kind of hard to keep some of this bed liner clean. But as you can see, everything, I mean, look at like this transition here. It all looks really good. Now the seats, I should definitely mention the seats. So like I said, it originally had the original seats in this, and they were just so gross, tore up. They didn't like move, or anyway, they were just the original seats. So we got these all out of a Dodge Neon, and I think the black looks really good. I mounted them in. I didn't even, nothing even too crazy about the mounts here. Just kind of some L brackets in the front, and then just bolts in the back, and they bolted in really nice, and were really simple to get to fit in here. And like I said, I really like the fit. They work really well. We still use kind of the stock seat belts, stock everything here, so it all turned out really good. Now we kind of painted up the dash here to make it look a little nicer. It was kind of faded. These don't work. Like I said, there was a stereo system in here, but we deleted that. There's no kind of need of all that, so kind of put in this block plate. There were some old speakers, and we put in block pieces here as well. So it really turned out well. We put a new steering wheel on it. The new top is really nice. We did the bed liner all the way through the back. It was quite the project, but it does make quite a bit of difference. Now, I just got this seat. It's actually for, I think, a Jeep. It's kind of a universal seat. I made some brackets. We mounted it backwards, but one of the main reasons we did this was because it was easier to kind of access everything. So the gas tank is right underneath here. So to kind of bolt this in place, it was the easiest to mount it backwards, and it makes it kind of fun when you're riding through here. So, but as you can see, I mean, I really liked how this bed liner came out. Now, there was a couple of holes. I think the worst rust that was on this was this back corner. Not sure how much you can see. This back corner, I had to order a whole new piece, and we cut this out and put in this, and it comes down. Most of this was all just kind of rusted out. There was a big hole in the floor right here, so we took care of that. And then it kind of came up here, and then this whole section was kind of rusted out where the fender flare was. So we took care of all of that. First time kind of doing a lot of that stuff. It was so much fun. Let me close this, and enough of this talking. Let's start driving this thing. Okay guys, so one of the things that I really like about this is all the different gauges. Now this is saying 48,300 miles. The gauges themselves are kind of faded. We could probably kind of fix that, but who knows? Who knows how many miles this has on it? I would bet it has 148,000, but I don't know. How could you put that many miles on this car? The other thing that's fun are just kind of the lights. That's the obviously the brake light is for the emergency brake. The other thing that's fun is when you put this into four-wheel drive, you get the nice four-wheel drive light that comes on. So it's nice and kind of surprising how much still works. One of the things that works really well is the heat. The heat in this works great. There's a defroster, there's vents here on the side that blow on the windows. It's actually a little too hot in here right now. Now I think this originally, as you can see, came with AC. The condenser's no longer in it, so someone at some point must have taken that out. But this is just such a blast to drive around. Check out, and kind of along with that, look at these wipers. That's it. That's all the wiper you get. Now it is, of course, kind of loud in here. The soft top doesn't help with that. Also, when we did the bed liner, there's a lot of the sound sound stuff on the bottom of the Samurai that kind of takes away some of that stuff. I think the bed liner probably helps a little bit with the noise, but I'm not sure if it's as much as like carpet and all that. Power wise, not very powerful. Your best bet is to find a hill like this, and that's about yeah, that's about it. But as you can hear, there's plenty of rattles and noises. It's definitely not a Toyota Camry. So yeah, I mean, I would say after driving this, could definitely use some power, but it's not really what this is for. And also it's pretty loud. Now, it's the quietest when you take off the doors, take off the top during the summer. When you kind of strip this thing down, you kind of take away a lot of the rattles. The doors and the windows really kind of rattle. Look how far away the windshield is. It's just right here. I would say this is the safest thing to be driving. Crank windows, manual locks. Just good, you know, stripped down. It's just fun to have a car that's kind of stripped down of everything. Let me show you the kind of power we're talking about. That's 35, third gear, fourth gear, 45, still 45. That's about it. This does do well off-road, but it is pretty bouncy. It can do it. It's got, you know, four-wheel drive. It's super light. I've taken this off, you know, some pretty cool trails and stuff. But I kind of found that the funnest that I have is kind of on roads like this. Back roads, you know, going around town. That's what's a lot of fun. So right now we're in fifth gear, foot to the floor. We aren't gaining speed, but that's 50 miles an hour. Now, because the doors come off, they mounted the mirrors on the kind of closer to the hood, so they're not on the doors. And as you can see, you can't really see much out of that mirror right there. It kind of puts the mirrors behind the A-pillars here. So this is useful. That is pretty much useless. These seats are really nice, so much more comfortable than the seats that were in it, the original seats. The other thing is, I'm not extremely tall, but I'm kind of a tall guy. I'm like 6'1". And one of the things that I noticed, especially when driving off-road, is your head's pretty close to this bar right here. It really doesn't take much to hit a bump and your head's hitting the bar. It really doesn't feel too good. But when we put in these seats, I made sure and mounted them as low as possible. I think they sit lower than the stock seats anyway. So that's kind of been nice about the seats as well. Not only are they more comfortable, there's more room in here, there's more headroom. It's perfect for me. It might be a little low for someone who's shorter, but my eye level is pretty much right at the windshield. Steering wheel's a little crooked. Speed limit's 45 and we're doing 45. Now we can't do all this talking about a Suzuki, about a Samurai, without taking it off-road. So let's take some light off-roading. This actually does really well in the snow. So here we go. It's like a mixture of snow and mud. Okay guys, there you go. There's the Suzuki Samurai that I never told you about. I love this thing. The reason you don't see it too much is because it's actually my father-in-law's. I bought it, kind of fixed it up, and then he bought it from me. So when I'm down here for the holidays, like today, like this weekend, I always pull this out and drive it as much as I can. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you have any questions. Like I said, I'm no expert on these, but we did fix this one up and make it look a lot better. Hit subscribe, comment below, like the video, all that kind of stuff really helps me out. So thanks guys, thanks for watching.